This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2021 Flagstaff Classic model 832 IK SB. Alright, so let's look around the outside here. See what we've got. Okay, so you have power stabilizer jacks. One switch controls both rear jacks. The switch up front controls both front. Alright. Okay. Now your slide outs, you'll notice that opposing every slide out, like the slide out on the other side, for example, there's a shaft coming through the frame, and it's got a pin through the shaft. Well, if you were to hook up, that's what this hole's for here. If you were to hook up a crank to that, you could actually crank the slide room manually, if you need to. And on the other side of the trailer, there'll be another hole that will allow you to crank this one manually. So keep that in mind. You can always get yourself out of trouble if you have any issues. Also, you have outside speakers. You got two power awnings with outside speakers here, LED strips. Your stairs fold into the trailer. Keep in mind you can adjust the length of the legs by flipping this lever up. There's one on each side, one for each leg. So you can do that, okay, if you need to. This is to crank your tire down, of course, your spare tire. And under here there's another hole for the slide out on the other side, the other slide out. And then there's also a quick connect fitting right here for LP. You see that right there? Your griddle hangs right on here, and then you get an LP line with quick connects that you connect to your griddle, connected to the fitting down there, and you draw propane from your two 30-pound tanks. Okay, this is just a TV bracket and power, and then a signal out right here if you wanted to hang a TV outside. This is a sprayer with a quick connect here. There'll be at least one more place where you can attach that sprayer to. I'll point it out when we get to it. And there's the switch, of course, for the front stabilizers. Alright. This device right here is your power inverter. So this not only converts power, it has an inverter. I believe this one has a solar panel on the roof. I know it does. And then, of course, you have two deep cycle marine batteries here. Okay, always remember, well, I'm showing you this right down there. If you can see this red, let me get in a better position here. Hold on. If you can see this switch right here, there's a red knob on it. That's the battery disconnect switch, just so you know. You're only going to use that if you put it into storage or something like that. All other times you keep the battery connected because you want everything to charge and discharge as needed. Okay, so getting back to this. This is an inverter. This takes the batteries. The batteries are like I said, they're two 12-volt batteries. They're wired together as 12 volts, so we actually just have double the storage capacity. So this inverter will draw the 12 volts from your batteries, and it'll convert it to 110 AC, right? So it goes from DC to AC power. If I look inside here, I'm not sure exactly what is hooked to this one. Usually it's just going to be a plug or maybe one appliance. I think in this case it's probably just a plug, so you could plug a AC appliance in if you need to. Okay, so keep in mind. Now also in the trailer there's going to be a converter which does the opposite. It converts AC to DC power. This one goes from DC to AC inversion. This is just a hookup for a solar panel battery charger if you ever wanted to get one. That's just to charge your battery. Okay. So you have two 30-pound LP tanks. As I told you, two deep cycle marine batteries with a kill switch over here. The regulator on here is an automatic changeover regulator. So just open both valves and it'll switch automatically. If you pull this plug right here, it'll accept a 3/4 inch crank or 3/4 inch socket on a battery powered drill, and you can actually operate this power tongue jack manually if you have to. But it is a power tongue jack, of course, but you can do it manually if you have a failure. You can get yourself out of trouble. Okay, so let me look here. Okay, this is just your pass-through storage. Back looking the other way. Now, I told you there was a crank to crank the slide rooms. It's the top one right there with the long cylinder with a slot through it. Right, that would fit on that shaft with a pin through it, okay? And then there's just a regular 3/4 inch one. You can use that on your tongue jack, or you can use it to crank your battery or your spare tire down, okay? All right. So while we're still close to the subject, this is where you would connect the crank to crank the door side slide room in and out, okay? Takes about 1,000 cranks, but it'll save your camping trip for sure and save the trip home. So, okay, this is just an exterior shower to hose down kids and dogs and feet and that sort of thing. Let me see if I get it to stay up here. This is your water station here. So your city water connection is right here. That's the most common way to get water into your trailer. You just hook the city water up and turn it on. Now there's also a place to fill your tank, your onboard water tank. I'll show you that. It's probably back on the other side, or maybe the back of the trailer. I'll find it for you and show you. But 9 times out of 10, you're just going to use city water hookup. These is satellite and campground cable through. This is to winterize your trailer. You draw antifreeze through this one. Okay. This is your black tank flush. So you've got your valves here: gray valves, black valve. Black valve is for the black tank, toilet water and waste, and then of course you've got the gray tanks, sink and shower water. So you always dump your black first because it's the dirtiest water, and then you use the gray to kind of clean out the line. Then if you leave your black valve open, you can hook your hose at the dump station right onto this one, turn it on, and it'll flush your black tank out. It'll spray off the sensors, so you get a really good accurate reading on your monitor panel. So it's a good thing to do. Okay. Low point drains are right there. That has to do with winterizing, okay? This is a 50 amp system, so you got a 50 amp power cord with that's 30 feet long, plus you get all the reducers to reduce it down to whatever you need to, down to 30 amp and then down again to 15/20 amp, okay? Your freshwater drain is straight down there, okay? This is the freshwater tank fill. If you go to a campground that does not have plumbing on the campsite, you can pre-fill this tank and turn on the onboard pump, and it'll pressurize the system and pump water just like you have city water, but you're drawing from your tank, okay? All right, so this housing here tells us it's pre-wired for a backup camera if you want to get one. It plugs right in there. You have a ladder, which is great because the manufacturer states that you should check your seals on the roof every 90 days. So somebody can go up there. You can walk on the roof, no problem. Just be very careful, of course. You're going to look at the sealant, make sure there's no cracking or separation where water could get through. Make sure a low branch didn't break a vent cover or rip your roofing material or anything like that. You're just giving it a good inspection, okay? Odds are you won't have to do anything for a long, long time, but that's why you inspect it, just to make sure. That's one of the most important things to do when it comes to trailer owner maintenance. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't do it, but it's very important. I can't state that enough. Okay, so right when we come in here, this device here is your carbon monoxide and LP gas detector. This will alert if it's got an LP leak or carbon monoxide buildup. Okay, also if it beeps slowly, it's telling you your battery is low. I'll put it through the paces here. LP test is good. Carbon monoxide coming up. Good, and then LP or low battery alarm. Okay, so it goes back to green. It should always be green. If not, get it serviced. Now, I showed you the inverter up front that inverts 12 volt DC power to AC power. This is the converter. It does just the opposite. Goes from 110 AC, which is regular household current, down to 12 volt, or over to 12 volt DC, I should say. So you see you have regular fuses or circuit breakers, I'm sorry, like you'd see at home, and they're all labeled. Then it converts it to 12 volt DC, and you have 12 volt fuses here, and they're all labeled. Okay. Now, if any of those fuses were to blow, they'll actually light up, and you can see it through that tinted plastic. And also, this is a battery tender, so when you're plugged in, it's going to send so much energy your batteries need up front, and it'll send whatever it needs. If they're low, it'll send 10 amps, for example. If they're charged, it'll just trickle a couple up there, but it'll always keep them charged when you're plugged in. That's the power converter. This GFCI, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the one that's inverted. We can find out for you by the time you pick it up. I didn't prep this trailer, so I'm not sure, but keep that in mind, okay? All right, so where to start? So up here, this is for your solar panel. Hopefully you can see that okay. Your battery is at 13.8 volts, which is perfect. Now there is no A and B battery, it would just B. The reason being the batteries are wired together as one battery, so it only sees one battery when it looks at it. So you go through B. Push B, that is the picture of the sun you see going to a solar panel. It's telling you you're gaining 4.1 amps, and it's going into your battery for storage, okay? That is a 100% charged battery and amp hours right there, okay? So you got the 4 different positions, voltage, how much amps you're gaining, how many amp hours, and also if you're 100% charged. It also is if you need to charge a cell phone off the solar panel, you can plug it in right there, for example. So, okay, that's for your panel. Your solar panel sends power to the battery and charges the battery, so it stores everything it's gaining, it's storing in the battery. Okay, now this is just a thermostat. It's very simple. You select the zone. Zone 1 is out here, for example. Cool, heat, fan, that sort of thing. The fan is just the air conditioner running without the compressor. Try to always run, see how it's on cool auto? Always try to run the fan on auto. That's the best way to do it, okay? Your control panel here, which is an analog panel, which I happen to believe is the best, because I deal with these all the time, and it's much better than the touch panel. It's been around forever, and it's a tried and true, okay? All right, so you check your levels this way. Battery's charged. Fresh water has got 2/3 in there. We're still checking it. Black water is empty. Gray 1, gray 2. Gray 1 is going to be your bathroom, sink and shower, and the other gray tank is sometimes called a galley tank, will be for your kitchen sink, okay? So what happens when it graduates up in 1/3 increments, of course. Once you get past 2/3, you're going to have to start thinking about dumping your black and gray tank. All right. These are all lights here. Okay. This is the Wi-Fi Ranger. I'll start with that. The Wi-Fi Ranger is on your roof, and what it is a signal booster for digital. For your let me say this again. It's a signal booster for public Wi-Fi. So what you'll do is you'll connect all your family's devices, their phones and tablets, to the Wi-Fi Ranger. You'll put the passwords in there anyway, so it'll connect automatically. So when you go with your, let's say you're using your phone, you go to Wi-Fi and you'll find Tenton 3093. See the top line there? 3093, that's you. So that's what you're going to connect, that's your Wi-Fi Ranger. That's what you connect to. Now if you want to see everything that the Wi-Fi Ranger sees, you go to the control panel online. You would type this address, this bottom number here, into a browser, and then use Change Me Now 3093 as a temporary password to get on, and you'll be able to connect to whatever public Wi-Fi you want from then. It's a really good signal booster. It also has a feature where you can get a SIM card through your cellular provider, and you can have cellular hookup, but that's a monthly pay thing, just like a phone or anything else, but it is an option, although most people just use the free Wi-Fi signal booster, okay? There's also an app to control this thing. You can see all of the information here. You can just scan that doohickey there, and it'll take you to Apple or Google Play, okay? I'm sure it's not called a doohickey, but that's the only name I can come up with right now, so. Your slide outs here, you got 3 slide outs, in and out, and 2 awnings in and out. Never leave your awnings out unattended. If you're not going to be at the campground, make sure you roll them in. That's important. If you want to turn on your water pump right there, I told you about the pump. Let me see if I can get a better view. I'm sorry about my camera work. You turn the pump on, and that'll pump water out of the fresh water tank. You also use this during when you're winterizing the trailer, okay? If you want to turn the water heater on electric, right there, never turn it on unless there's water in the tank, always remember. If you want to run it on gas, it's right here, okay, either or. And then you have tank heaters, so they're like heating pads on your black and gray and fresh water tanks. You turn that on, and it's basically got heating pads on it, and it'll warm it up so you can go out in colder weather without it freezing. Okay, I think that covers everything on here. Let me look around. Yes. So basically, most of the lighting and the monitor panel and all that stuff is done right from here. Okay. All right. So let's move inside here. Your I don't know if the gas is turned on here, but I'll see what I can do here. So this is the sparker. You turn this clockwise to spark, right? So you just pick a burner, light it on just like that. Okay, so you got 3 burners, 3 knobs. Then you have this oven knob here. Now, the oven is a little different. All the way at the back on the bottom, you can see it sparking there. That's a pilot light back there. So what you do is you go to the picture of the pilot light, then you depress this. You keep it held in through the whole lighting process. Then you'll take the other hand and you'll turn that clockwise to spark it. After you see it light down here, you'll still hold this in for another 10 or 15 seconds to heat it up. Then you go to operating temperature, of course. But keep in mind, when you shut it off, the flame goes out, obviously, but so does the pilot light. So you got to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. Okay, and always have this closed when you're traveling. This is your exhaust fan, your light. Okay, microwave works like any other microwave. This refrigerator is a let me make sure it's a 12-volt compressor refrigerator. Yes. Okay, so that'll run off battery power when you're towing it down the road, and your batteries will be charged by your alternator on your tow vehicle. And then when you're plugged in, remember I told you about the power converter. That will keep it going right down here. Okay. All right. So let's see what else we got here. This is a hide-a-bed here. You just pull the cushions off, grab it right at the front cushion, pull it out. It's got 3 panels in it. Drop the legs, fold it back down, and it's actually foam hide-a-bed, which is really not that bad as hide-a-beds go, especially if you remember the old ones with the springs and the bar on your back and everything. This is a far superior, of course. Now these are turned sideways because so the slide-outs could come in and out, but you spin around obviously. These are recliners, and if you look at the straps down there, you can strap these into place too so they don't bounce around when you're traveling. All right, so you have your dinette table and chairs. Always tie the chairs together around the post and around the corner leg on the chair, so it won't keep them from moving, but it'll keep them from flying around and breaking a window or something like that when you're traveling. Okay. We'll go over how to use this when you pick up your trailer, but this is the the tire monitor. So it'll tell you your tire pressure. It'll tell you how hot your wheel is. And this goes up front with you. The monitor panel goes up front with you, and you sit it on your console or wherever you're going to sit it. And so you can just keep it on. It has an audible alarm that'll go off if it exceeds the parameters. So okay. All your stuff is in here. All the literature for your trailer is in there. That's your griddle that I told you about hanging outside. Your fireplace has a remote control, which is right here. I don't know if I can run it with the air conditioner going. It probably won't. Oh, it will. So anyway, you can adjust the look of the fire just by doing this. Okay. You can set the timer to turn it on, let's say 20 minutes before you get up in the morning if you want. You can set the fan speed, off, low, and high. And it has a thermostat that goes up and down in, I think, 5-degree increments, as I recall. But either way, it has a thermostat. So it's got everything you need. It's a really good space heater. And you've got a limited supply of propane. So on those mornings or nights when you don't need to run your furnace, you can always use this and not use up your limited supply of gas, okay? Sound bar, of course, and this is your sound here. It plays CDs and DVDs right here, of course. You can stream off USB. It has Bluetooth, so you can hook up wirelessly with your phones or tablets, whatever you have. You can. It's got AM/FM radio built in. It has 3 speaker zones. 1 is this room, 2 is the front bedroom, and 3 is outside. You can set the. You have to read up about it a bit, but you can set zone 3, which is outside. You can set that separately from the inside. Therefore, you can set a different source and a different volume for outside. So you could be watching a video in here and listening to something else outside. just remember when it comes time to do zone 3, you push the Z3 button, and when you push that, you can set the volume and the source independently of zone 1 and zone 2. Okay, hopefully that made sense for you. It does everything you need and more, I guess. Of course, that's your TV. You have some storage back here. While I've got this open, I want to show you that this green light here, if you can see it, this is a digital signal booster. I'll turn it back on. You can turn it on and off, but when you're using the antenna, you want that on. Otherwise, you'll get a lousy signal, if anything at all. But with it on, it's a super good digital antenna, and it'll pick up all the local channels. Okay, you probably have to rescan, of course, but other than that, it'll pick them up. All right, so let me look around a bit more. It's a hot day today, and this air conditioning feels good, let me tell you. Okay, so let's move towards the bathroom next. I got to pick up the pace here because it'll start a new file after 30 minutes if I'm not careful. So the shower works like any other shower, except you have this shower miser. This is a water circulating system. So what happens when you're heating up the water, the warm water, to take a shower, or heating up the hot water to take a shower, instead of it just taking good unused water and sending it down the drain, right, while it heats up, it loops it around in a loop, and when it gets warmed up, this will change colors dramatically. You'll see it gets very vibrant. Once it does that, you'll it's telling you that the water's hot. Then you can put it into regular configuration, so it just works normally. But it's just looping the water around, cycling it around, so you don't waste water. You're not wasting water, and let's say if you're in an area with a drought, you're not going to waste water that way, and then you're not going to waste space in your gray tank, because you have limited space for storage, so you're not going to be sending water down there when you don't need to. I just want to state that there's literature in that packet, but also you go onto their website, and they've got really good videos. Just about every manufacturer does. So if you want to learn more, you can always look for manufacturers' videos. But that's the gist of it there, okay? The toilet, I'm sure you've owned RVs before, I would assume. That's the flush pedal right there. You can't use it dry. By dry, we're talking about the black tank, which is directly below down there. So what you'll do is you pull into the campground, you'll take your toilet chemical, whatever brand you use, you'll put 1 dose in there, right? Then you'll step on the pedal, and you'll let about a gallon of water swirl into the black tank. So you got to have a gallon of water, some people even use more, but a gallon of water and chemical in there before you start using it. If you don't, it's going to smell super bad, and also it can get clogged up, so you never run it dry. If you're going to stay at the campground, let's say, for another week, but you had to flush your black tank, as soon as you flush it, you come back in here, put the chemical in, step on the pedal, put water in, okay? Let's put it this way, if you don't do it, you'll only not do it once. It'll cure you really quickly. So this is the vent fan. It's a 4-speed fan for the bathroom. Always keep in mind you want to run it with the shower, because these trailers are built super tight now, and you want to pull the humidity out so you don't create a favorable climate when it comes to mold and mildew. So make sure you vent it when you're showering. Okay. This is telling us that there's a sensor behind here. It's pre-wired for a sensor. The reason the sensor would be here because this is also pre-wired for a second air conditioner. It would fit right in this vent hole, and that's why it's a 50 amp system, because you could add another air conditioner. So if you're ever interested, it can be installed in this room, and you just put like a 13.5 here, and you'll be you could have icicles hanging from the ceiling. It'll be cool enough. So, okay. All right. So this comes up. I can get it up here. I don't know if I can with the tables on it, but you got the stools on it. But that's your dump hose there, of course, and you've got drawers and storage. Okay. And these are your stools. You got like a window seat here, and a wardrobe. So super nice trailer. I love these Flagstaffs. I've been dealing with them for, I don't know, over a decade now, and I see a lot of different brands of trailers. These things are top of the line. Let's put it that way. So Okay? All right, so I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. And please remember what I said about having somebody go up on the roof every 90 days and check everything out, look for any kind of issues. And of course, you have to winterize it in the late fall, early winter, okay? Thank you very much.